The letter came 3 days after my daughter's funeral. It was folded neatly, taped to our front door, the HOA logo printed at the top like a threat wrapped in politeness. "Dear Mr. Cole," it began, "please remove all memorial items from your front lawn as they do not comply with community appearance standards." Memorial items. That's what they called the candles, the flowers, the tiny pink bicycle leaning against the tree. My daughter's tree. The one she planted when she was 7, her small hands patting the soil with a seriousness that made me laugh. Emma had named it Starbloom, because she said it would grow tall enough to touch the stars. She was always dreaming like that, seeing magic where I saw only dirt and roots. Her name was Emma, and she was 11 when she died. She had this quiet way of seeing beauty in everything. Fallen leaves weren't just debris to her, they were treasures. She'd collect them, tape them into journals, draw faces on them, and give them names. "This one's Mr. Crinkle," she'd say, holding up a brittle oak leaf with a smiley face drawn in marker. "He's got a story about flying with the wind." I'd nod, pretending to understand, but really, I was just marveling at her. How could a kid see the world with such wonder when all I saw were bills, deadlines, and the endless grind of keeping up appearances in this sterile neighborhood? It wasn't an accident that took her. It was preventable. A delivery contractor, speeding through the curved street to beat the community gate's timer, didn't see her riding her bike. He didn't even live here. Just another outsider cutting through our perfect little world, oblivious to the kids who played here. I'd been begging the HOA for months to install a speed bump on that stretch of road. "Kids play here," I told them at meeting after meeting, my voice steady but my hand shaking. Martha Jennings, the HOA president, would purse her lips and say, "We'll take it under advisement, Mr. Cole, but speed bumps disrupt the aesthetic flow of the neighborhood." Aesthetic flow. That's what they prioritized over my daughter's life. When Emma died, the HOA sent flowers. A generic bouquet with a typed note. "Our thoughts are with you during this difficult time." I stared at it for hours, wondering if Martha had even signed it herself or if she delegated it to some assistant. The flowers sat on my kitchen counter until they wilted, and I threw them out without a second thought. They didn't bring Emma back. Nothing could. But the letter, that letter 3 days after her funeral, felt like a knife twisting in an open wound. I stood on my porch, staring at the memorial. The candles, some still flickering despite the breeze, cast soft shadows on the grass. The flowers, a mix of roses and daisies from neighbors and friends, were arranged in a messy circle around the base of Starbloom. And the pink bicycle, its handlebars adorned with faded streamers, leaned against the trunk like it was waiting for her to come back and ride it. How could they call this clutter? How could they reduce my daughter's memory to a violation of their precious rules? I didn't sleep that night. I sat in Emma's room, surrounded by her journals, her drawings, her half-finished crafts. She'd left a sketch on her desk, a leaf with a face she hadn't named yet. I traced the lines with my finger, trying to imagine what story she'd have given it. Maybe it was a leaf that dreamed of being a star, like her tree. Maybe it was just a leaf, but to Emma, it would have been something more. The next morning, I went to the HOA board meeting. The community center was as pristine as ever, white walls, polished wood floors, and a table set with coffee and pastries, like we were discussing neighborhood potlucks instead of my daughter's death. Martha sat at the head, her hair perfectly styled, her smile practiced. The other board members flanked her, their faces a mix of boredom and discomfort. I stood at the podium, the letter crumpled in my hand, my voice shaking as I read it aloud. "Is this really what you think?" I asked, holding it up. "Candles and flowers? A bicycle? You think this is clutter?" Martha adjusted her glasses, her expression calm but unyielding. "Mr. Cole, we understand your grief, but we have to maintain consistency." The rules apply to everyone. If we make an exception for you, we'd have to make exceptions for everyone. Everyone, I said, my voice rising. How many people on this street have a cross with their kid's name carved into it? How many, Martha? The room went silent. A few board members shifted in their seats, avoiding my eyes. Martha didn't flinch. We're sorry for your loss, Mr. Cole, but the rules are in place to protect the community's appearance. It's what keeps our property values high. Property values. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table, scatter their coffee cups, and tell them what the rules had cost me. But I didn't. I walked out, my hands trembling so badly I could barely open the door. That night, I sat on the porch where Emma used to draw with chalk. Her last masterpiece was still there, faded but visible, a rainbow with a smiling sun at the end. She'd spent hours on it, her tongue poking out in concentration as she blended the colors. I traced the lines with my fingers, the chalk dust clinging to my skin. The street was quiet, too quiet. No laughter, no bikes, no chalk dust footprints. Just the hum of the streetlight and the weight of silence. The next morning, I woke to find the memorial gone. Every candle, every flower, the pink bicycle, erased, as if Emma had never existed. The lawn was spotless, the grass undisturbed except for 2 faint tire tracks leading from the curb to the tree. My stomach dropped. I checked the security camera I'd installed after the accident, the one I'd put up to catch speeders. The footage was grainy, but unmistakable. Martha's SUV, parked on my lawn in the dead of night. Her husband, Tom, loading the bicycle into the back while she gathered the candles and flowers, tossing them into a trash bag like they were garbage. I called the police. They came, took a report, and left with a shrug. It's a civil matter, the officer said, his tone apologetic but firm. You'd need to take it up with the HOA or a lawyer. Civil. The word felt like a mockery. There was nothing civil about stealing a grieving father's tribute to his daughter. Nothing civil about a neighborhood that valued rules over a child's life. 2 days later, another letter arrived. This one informed me I was being fined $500 for excessive lawn damage and property clutter. The tire tracks, they claimed, were my fault. The memorial, they said, had been unsightly. I read the letter 3 times, each word fueling a rage I hadn't known I was capable of. I'd spent months trying to be reasonable, trying to work within their system. I'd begged for a speed bump, written letters, attended meetings. And now this. They'd taken everything, my daughter, her memory, my voice, and they expected me to pay for it. That was the day I snapped. I printed stills from the security footage, showing Martha and Tom desecrating the memorial. I made copies of the letter, the fine, and Emma's obituary from the local paper. I stapled them together into packets and walked to every doorstep on the street, knocking until someone answered. Most took the packet silently, their eyes downcast. A few muttered, "I'm sorry," or "I didn't know." But Ron, an older man who lived 3 houses down, invited me in. His living room smelled of coffee and old books, and he listened as I poured out the story, Emma's accident, the HOA's refusal, the stolen memorial. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair, his eyes tired but sharp. "Son," he said, "you're fighting a ghost. Martha's not protecting rules. She's protecting control. This neighborhood, it's her kingdom. She's been running it like this for years. You're not the first to lose something to her." I didn't know what he meant then, but his words stuck with me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Emma's face, her smile as she rode her bike, her hands covered in chalk dust. I kept seeing Martha's SUV, the candles in the trash bag, the tire tracks on my lawn. And I kept hearing Ron's voice, "You're fighting a ghost." The sirens came just after midnight. I woke to flashing lights and the smell of smoke. From my window, I saw the fire trucks parked in front of Martha's house. Her porch was ablaze, flames licking up the pristine white columns she'd always bragged about. Neighbors gathered on their lawns, whispering, watching. I ran outside, my heart pounding, unsure if I was horrified or relieved. The firefighters worked quickly, dousing the flames before they could spread to the rest of the house. No one was hurt, thank God. But the damage was done. Half of Martha's facade was charred, the perfect exterior she'd fought so hard to maintain reduced to ash and ruin. The police questioned everyone, but no one pointed fingers. No one mentioned the candle. Because that's what started it. One single candle, taken from Emma's memorial. It had rolled under Martha's porch, unnoticed, still lit. A tiny flame, forgotten in their rush to erase my daughter's memory, had sparked the fire that broke their illusion of control. The next morning, the neighborhood was different. Quieter somehow. No one spoke of the fire, at least not to me. No one spoke to Martha either. I saw her once, standing on her ruined porch, staring at the blackened wood like she couldn't comprehend it. Tom stood beside her, his face blank. For the first time, she looked small. Not powerful, not in control, just a woman who'd lost something she couldn't replace. 2 months later, I moved. I couldn't stay in that house, that street, that neighborhood. Every corner held a memory of Emma, but they were tainted now, overshadowed by the HOA's cruelty and my own helplessness. Before I left, I did one last thing. I planted another tree where Star Bloom had stood. It was small, barely a sapling, but it was enough. I carved a single line into the trunk. She asked for color in a gray world. No sign, no flowers, no letters. Just Emma's truth, etched where no one could erase it. I don't know what happened to Martha or the HOA after I left. I don't care. I found a new place, a small house with a yard where I planted another tree. I keep one of Emma's journals on my nightstand, and sometimes, when the world feels too heavy, I read her stories about leaves and stars. They remind me that she saw beauty where I couldn't, and maybe, just maybe, I can learn to see it too. To everyone reading this story, thank you for sharing in Emma's memory. Her light still shines, even in the grayest places. Please, leave a comment below and let me know where you're reading from. It means the world to connect with others who feel her story. And if her words touched you, consider subscribing to keep her spirit alive through stories that ask for color in a gray world.